Welcome to Amazon Ads Raw Daily with your host, Alex.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Amazon Ads Raw. We will talk today about long-term sales and long-term return on advertising spending, a very new metric that has been introduced into Amazon Ads on the sponsored brand and sponsored display campaigns. The announcement was last year on Amazon Unboxed in October, and the new metric shall help kind of let you analyze your campaigns beyond the short-term sales and the short-term ad attributed metrics that you get, and should help you kind of understand the long-term value that is created from those campaigns above the 14-day attribution window. Like, it's looking ahead into the next 12 months and how much sales each new customer would generate for your brand. So this is very exciting, and this is the announcement. This is how they created it. You can find it within the advertising reports. Just download a sponsored brand campaign level report or a sponsored display campaign level report, and the reports will look like that. As you know, you'll get per campaign and so on and so forth. You get your usual metrics. I'll show you the new list of metrics because that's pretty impressive. So these are all the metrics that are now on a campaign level. I'll zoom in here a little bit so we can see this more clearly. These are all the usual metrics you know from sponsored brand and sponsored display campaigns, viewable impressions, click-through, video mutes. So this is all old stuff that has been there since SBVs has been introduced. 14-day branded searches, kind of a newer add to the list of metrics, but not super new. Then we have all these 14-day new to brand sales, stuff like that. Then we have a couple of click-based metrics and view-based metrics depending on the type of campaign. Since Amazon has introduced campaigns that are CPM-based for sponsored brands, you also have CPM-based campaigns on sponsored display. They have introduced these new metrics that are tracking sales, 14-day attributed sales based on the last click. But there's also some that are calculating on views. But the real interesting thing here that we want to talk about today is long-term sales and long-term ROAS, and these are the ones that are rather new. So they are just got exposed into the campaign reports. Feel free to download the report and check it out for yourself. There's also a few other very interesting ones: branded search click-through conversions, branded search rate, and effective cost per branded search. That is all highly interesting. And let's now talk about long-term sales from a campaign level standpoint, and then we talk about how it's calculated. So when you look into your campaigns, you will find that besides the usual 14-day sales that you'll get, and let me zoom in here even further, I think 200%, maybe let's do 250, should be good. So besides the usual 14-day sales or whatever you usually look at, you'll now get something that is called long-term sales. And this number looks very different than the 14-day sales. The idea here is, as I explained already in the beginning, Amazon tries to forecast how much revenue, how much sales you will generate from a net new customer or from a recurring customer that interacted with your campaign. So let's assume this is a branding campaign or whatever campaign, generic campaign. This is the amount of sales all the customers that were acquired through this campaign and in the time frame have generated on a 14-day click-based attribution window. Now Amazon tries to see what are the repeat patterns for these kind of customers. Did they also added something to cart? And so on and so forth. So some people might have interacted with your campaign, but have not purchased. This is a valuable input also to long-term sales. So it takes a couple of additional let's say, viewpoints. An add to cart is something that is interesting. A detail page view is something that is interesting. Obviously, a purchase is something that is interesting. And each of these funnel steps, they get assigned a certain dollar value, depending on your brand and your category. I have not found, and let me know, guys, if you have found a way to specifically see these values per journey step, because I was not able to find them. But each journey step gets a certain value assigned. Let's say my value for my purchase, obviously that would be my ASP or my sales amount. That is the value for my purchase. But an add to cart is maybe just $3 or $4 or $5, $10, depending on your product. And a product detail view could be $1, $2, whatever Amazon thinks makes sense there. And then your campaign is currently just measuring the dollar amount of the purchases, the sales that happens. But the long-term sales also incorporate add to carts and interactions with your brand, and kind of tries to give you a broader picture, a much more holistic picture of your campaign performance, and tries to triangulate kind of the, tries to push us into a way to think more holistically about this whole thing. Amazon could also have introduced a different way of attributing stuff, changing a level, making the attribution not last click based or whatever it is. But they introduced this kind of metric that tells you, hey, this campaign generated 16,000, but it also generated on long term, or will generate in long term, 45,000, which is 3x of what it generated immediately. And now the interesting thing here is when you start, let's add spend here as well. So we get a little bit of that. Whoop. That's at spend. And then let's just do a quick ACOS. Wait a second. For quick ACOS, we should not do it like that because it's a pivot table. So we need to do a calculated field here. ACOS on sales is equals spend. Where was it? Equals spend divided by 14-day total sales. And then we want to do this as a percent. Oh, guys, I'm not working with Excel a lot, to be very honest. All right, I'm working with Google Sheets a lot. So this is our ACOS based on the immediate sales, and now we do the same thing. The formatting. Now we do the same thing, but with the long-term sales, and you already can guess what will happen, but it's like ACOS on LTS. Let's call it LTS, I'm not sure. Spend divided by, and then long-term sales. There is already something, we can also add the long-term ROAS, which is basically the same metric, but divided by 1. Let's add this here as well. Man, this is a little bit annoying that this is always jumping back and forth. All right, guys, sorry for letting you wait here a little bit as I'm trying to figure out all of these things. As this is always true for Amazon Ads Raw, is very raw and uncut. I'm doing this live. I'm not, doing free recordings, whatever. All right, so LTS, let's change this to be percent, and the ROAS to be a number. All right, so this is what we will be looking at once we check the different ACOS, right? So this campaign over here has an immediate ACOS of 50%. Maybe you say, hey, this is way too high. I need to lower my spend. But wait, Amazon tells you that over time, your long-term sales will be 45,000 because so many more people interacted with it. So the long-time ACOS is only 18%. And now you can decide, hey, with 18%, I'm actually pretty happy, or maybe this is still too high. And the same thing applies for all the other campaigns here. And you can see there's huge discrepancies depending on how the campaigns actually performed. You can see this campaign here, for example, they have 0 additional long-term sales coming on this. So all the sales that happened on this are also the sales that they are kind of predicting for long-term sales. So the ACOS stays exactly the same here. And this way you can go in, analyze, and eventually give some of these campaigns more budget, more CPCs, more bids, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that's kind of it. That's long-term sales on Amazon. The exact calculation for the long-term sales is kind of a little bit tricky. There's a help article I can most likely post somewhere as well, but you'll sure find it as well on the Amazon help pages, where you can see how they are calculating each of the funnel steps. And the real myth here is how to figure out which of the funnel steps get how many dollars assigned, and then kind of understanding actually from my campaign, what are the components here. 45,000, how much of add to carts did I had that didn't went through, and so on and so forth, that was still incorporated in the long-term sales. And this is still a little bit a myth, but if you trust Amazon enough to give it a go, that would mean you should kind of look at these kind of metrics and then evaluate your campaign performance and your bids again based on these long-term sales and long-term ROAS/ACOS. But before we close out, I wanted to go with you through one more metric. As I said, there's one more, or maybe a few more interesting ones. The effective cost per branded search and the branded search rate or branded search click-throughs, and so on and so forth. So instead of pulling them here into the pivot table, we just quickly look at them over here. Because this is also sorted by campaigns, I think. So something like that is what you will most likely see in your reports as well. Let me zoom in a little further. Effective cost per add to cart. Let's do text. Let's do this. Effective cost per add to cart. Well, I don't know if that's like a metric I would be looking at, but brand searches click-through conversions, that is interesting. So we can see that this campaign is having a huge amount of branded searches. Maybe because it has branded keywords inside, who knows. Branded search rate, effective cost per branded search, $3. So this has $100. So it's breaking down the spend. I guess this campaign had a cost of $200. Let's check it here real quick. Spent $200. It generated 2 branded searches somehow, or 2 branded searches click-through conversions, and that means effective cost per branded search was $100. We got $500 long-term sales. Long-term ROAS is 2.5. So this is like interesting. The thing I need to analyze and to go a little further in maybe another video is, are these branded search click-throughs, or this is kind of expected because these are kind of branded campaigns. Let's assume these campaigns have branded keywords inside and these others don't have branded keywords inside. What do we do with the effective cost per branded search? Is this something we can kind of take and analyze and take it a step further, and so on and so forth? But yeah, for today, this shall be enough. quicker video than usual. Have a good day and see you soon.
Thank you for listening to Amazon Ads Raw Daily. And remember to stay curious.